everyone, and thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box, our first one of the new year. Happy New Year, Tariq. How you doing, man?
Oh, Happy New Year. That was my line. I'm supposed to say that to you.
See?
Got me first.
How you doing, Pat?
Feeling great. Got my Bills AFC Championship hat. I got my USA jersey for World Juniors. Today's a good day. Everything's feeling good.
Man, so you are all set. Well, look, first show of the new year. Tariq, what's something you'd like to see happen in 2021?
Be live at a Red Wings baseball game. It's so interesting. The past year there were obviously games played, but I miss live baseball outdoors amongst people. Changing multiple topics. You could talk baseball. You can talk different sports. You could talk life. You could talk all different things. Enjoying good food, having something to drink. Second to that is probably high school sports, because these kids are playing at such the purest level. So I'm looking forward to some of that coming back sooner rather than later.
Tariq, I like the Red Wings thing only because I think 2021 is going to be a year where we kind of appreciate what we've got. And those kind of things you talk about, going to the ballpark, are things I don't think we thought enough about. Don't you think?
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I was just thinking about that when we were asked the question beforehand, and I miss it. It was there before, and of course I've gone to Red Wings games. I know, Pat, you've gone to Red Wings games, but it's different when you don't have it for a whole year. Plus, they have a new relationship with the Nationals now. Who knows how that's going to work out? There's new players to get to know over the years and hopefully see them in the majors. So it's a brand new relationship. It's a brand new year, and hopefully we get the chance to see them live.
Yeah, along the lines of with what Tariq just said, I just want to be able to see my kids go out and play sports again. I didn't realize how important that was to them until, the last couple of months. My 10-year-old, she plays travel hockey. My 8-year-old, she does competitive ballroom dance. Guess which parent got which kid when it came to activities. But, not having my oldest daughter and, my 8-year-old have that competitive outlet, I realized, look, I love watching the Bills. I love watching the Sabres. I love watching the World Juniors, the NBA, college basketball, all that stuff, right? But, it was the past 18 months that really sent home. The most fun I have at sporting events now are watching my kids compete. I could just sit for hours and watch my 10-year-old play hockey and watch my 8-year-old ballroom dance, which again is not something I ever thought I'd say, at 24 years old as opposed to 34 years old. But I miss them be walking off the ice or walking off the dance floor, just proud of themselves, big smiles on their faces. So yeah, if there was one thing, I'll give all the other stuff back. Just let me have that again for a little while.
Yeah, Pat, I feel like I have to ask, how's a competitive ballroom dancing event work?
Okay, so apparently in this town, I think my 8-year-old is the only person under the age of 55 that does it. So there hasn't been much competition as much as it is her dancing with a much older person and showing off to everybody. But she loves it. She has a blast. So who am I? Who am I to say?
I saved mine because I think it's gonna require a lot of discussion. I'm looking forward in 2021. It's not gonna happen. It's to finally getting rid of the Roman numerals on the Super Bowl. I hate that.
Why?
I absolutely hate it. I can't. I had to look one up today. Thank you, Tariq. That's an honest reaction.
You know what's interesting about it? That's the only time we use Roman numeral numbers. And I feel like if we get rid of it, we're just getting rid of writing in script. Like little things that we want to hold on to, but we don't know how valuable are until they lose it. I don't know. That's fine. If you want to get rid of them.
Well, I had to look one up today. It was 16 characters long. And I'm going, right, 10, 20, 30, minus 5. This is ridiculous. It's got to end. So to stop at 50 and put the year there, that's my thing.
Oh, my God. That's the best one. I don't know if you can top that, though. That's the best one. It caught me off guard.
Well, I don't know. I'm a little preferable to the whole ballroom dancing thing, which I think needs more investigation. We'll have time. We've got a whole year ahead of us. This is the Rochester Press Box. We're talking Buffalo Bills next.
Original Bay Goodman Pizza, located on the corner of North Winton at Browncroft. There are 3 ways to get the original Bay and Goodman delivery. Go to baygoodman.com.
Thanks for joining us and welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. Time to talk Buffalo Bills. Pat, last game of the season. It's a memorable season, certainly, for the Buffalo Bills. I got to throw this out first, though. I think this is one of the most egregious scheduling messes that the NFL has ever handed a team. They're giving Miami 2.5 days more rest on this thing. Miami playing Saturday, the Bills playing Monday. You know, if this game meant more than it does, certainly to Buffalo, this is just horrible.
I guess, yes. If it was, I don't know. It's hard for me to be upset because the Bills got the Steelers. You know, the Steelers have played 3 games in 12 days. The Bills get them that. And they've had a couple of favorable ones, with the exception of the Titans game where they got 2 weeks rest. Look, the way everything is shaken out, with the exception of the Pittsburgh Steelers, every team has getting bitten on this, and every team has been able to take advantage of it. Look, man, I'm fine with it. It is what it is. I am shocked when it comes to scheduling that. I know the Bills have had, 5 straight primetime games, that they didn't flex that Dolphins-Bills game into primetime for Sunday night. I mean, with the exception of the Steelers and Browns game, this is the one that I think matters most. I think the Dolphins are a team, although I don't believe it, that a lot of people who watch the NFL think are a team that nobody wants to see in the playoffs once things get started.
They hang that label on everybody. I think Miami's least likely to wear that. That's a team I'd want to play.
I'm with you 100%, but what I've been reading the last couple of days, you don't want to play Miami, number 1 defense in the league, Brian Flores, look at his muscles. Like, I don't really care, but I would just think with all of the reading and the talking, it would have been a game that you would have focused on just to push that narrative, because there's a chance the Bills play the Dolphins in the first week of the playoffs, depending on how things shake out. So I don't know. That's the only thing that had me scratching my head this week.
Well, this is the only reference I'm making. The NFC East, that's still up for grabs. So I understand why they flexed that game that way, because that could determine whether or not one of the teams that are terrible in the NFC East actually get in, which we'll get into a little bit later on. I mean, listen, I look forward to it. I guess the question would be, how do you play this game out? You are where you are. Do you go all the way and then pull it back at halftime? I mean, how important is this game for you to keep the momentum and the offense going the way it's been going? You obviously don't want any injuries before you get into the playoffs. This is one of those weird moments where I said before the Patriots game, play it all the way, play it all the way, play it all the way. Now you're about a week away from the playoffs. Do you want to play it all the way? Do you want to win this game and make a statement? Do you want to go into the playoffs maybe a little nicked up? I'm not quite sure. It really just depends down to game day how the Buffalo Bills feel going into the playoffs, what position that they're in, and how they feel going forward with the rest of the seasons. Because, this is a weird territory. This is why guys get paid so much money. You have to make a really tough decision about your football team, whether or not to pull everybody back at halftime or to go all the way.
Look, that's a valid concern after what happened last season, Tariq. I mean, the Bills what was it, 1 or 2 drives against the Jets and all, they empty the benches and play the backups. Well, you lose in overtime to the Texans last season. Did that have anything to do with it? I mean, your offense came out rolling at the beginning of the game. Everything got adjusted at halftime. I mean, McDermott, if he's good at one thing, it's learning from the mistakes that he's made. If he views that last season as a mistake that led to that loss, it wouldn't surprise me. They're relatively healthy, knock on wood. In fact, almost all healthy, knock on wood. Why not play this whole game out and see what happens? Do it a little bit different than the way it cost you last season.
Well, is that your answer to that question? It's a good question. Tariq poses. You play him full bore?
Okay, so I think you play him, but you don't play him full bore. I mean, you use the plays in your playbook that protects your quarterback, that protect your wide receivers. Look, you keep the guys on the field. You let them go through the motions like it's a regular game day. Just don't run any Josh runs up the middle for no reason. You send Josh out on some tight end pattern after a toss to McKenzie. Just play the game straight up. Let them get their momentum and get them off the field healthy.
You know what would help? A running game. I've been talking about it all year. A running game. Eat some clock. Get some time in there. Get the ball out of the hands of your quarterback. Just a running game and a great defensive stance. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's a good time. It's a good point. The running game would be real good this week. I'm a split the difference guy. I put those starters in. I play a hard first half and then sit them, because then you're not losing the momentum and you're gaining the advantage of just the numbers game. There's 50% less chance of somebody coming up with a bad injury. So the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins completing season. It's been just a tremendous season. I got more to say on that later in my unfinished business. Looking forward to getting to the playoff round. This is the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not, is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
All of these things show Josh Allen has a strive for greatness inside of him.
Falcon Around with Carl Falk. New episodes every Tuesday on Rock Sports Now.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back. This is the Rochester Press Box. This segment of the Press Box, like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law Firm. Attorneys with years of experience dealing with the accused don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today. Like it or not, Tariq, the mighty NFC East.
Oh, how mighty it will be a losing record in the playoffs, the first to get tagged out in dodgeball. Listen, I mean, listen, with the Philadelphia Eagles out, they can play a role here in this game that's coming up. I'm not quite sure what really to expect. I mean, if Washington wins, they're in. If Philadelphia beats Washington, that means the win of Dallas and New York, my football Giants, they would win the NFC East. I almost don't even care. And even as a Giant fan, it'd be nice to make the playoffs. But after what I saw in Baltimore, they're not a playoff team. They're just basically a team holding it together. And I'll get into that with my unfinished business. But the NFC East is I can't even imagine the Washington football team, with everything that they went through before the season started, getting rid of their team, running into all sorts of scandals off the field. Dwayne Haskins loses his starting position, and they could be in the playoffs.
Loses it, gets it back, and loses it again. Haskins is an interesting case.
Oh, but he's not starting this Sunday. It's going to be the third-string quarterback. What is his name? Heineke? So you're going to have a third-string quarterback starting for a win-or-go-home playoff-making kind of game. And mark my words, I want it on tape right now so you guys can't say I didn't say it. Whoever wins that division, and I know you're going to laugh in my face, will win the opening round playoff game. It's going to happen. Whoever wins that division will win a playoff game. Write it down.
And
history's on your side. It's happened 2 other times. There have been 2 losing teams make the playoffs, and both of them won their first-round games. Go ahead, Tariq.
I will say this, though. Credit to Washington with everything they've gone on through there. Ron Rivera has definitely put in a brand new culture. He found out what was going on with his team, with his quarterback. He gave Haskins a chance to be the leader you showed. He is not the leader of that organization. Alex Smith came in, became the story of the year in the NFL and winning football games. If they make the playoffs, credit to them going forward. Listen, I want my Giants in. Don't get me wrong, but we are not a playoff team.
Pat, like it or not, start of the NBA season.
Oh, my God, I've been glued to the television. I can't stop. Like with all of these sports, right? Like over the weekend, you had important football games and World Juniors hockey. Yet I kept finding myself clicking back to what was going on NBA-wise. Like I was glued to that Celtics-Bucks opening game, right? Bucks down 17, or I'm sorry, yeah, they come roaring all the way back. You have a chance for the 2-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and he has maybe the worst 15 seconds of his career, getting a 3 in his eye, catching a foul that wasn't actually a foul. Like he gets a superstar call and then misses the back end. I'm sorry, I'm getting very detailed. It's insane, and there's nothing set in stone because the Nets look really good right now, but you're one argument, weird crystal touching from KD to Kyrie Irving for that whole thing to fall apart, right? The Lakers look pretty good, but they have age and injury questions that could pop up along the year. What the heck is going on with the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard? They're getting blown out by like 70 points. Everything is wide open up in the air, and I think that's what makes the NBA the most interesting league moving forward right now.
You got anything to make of you got anything to make, Tariq, of the Clippers losing by like they were down 50 at the half to Dallas?
Listen, I'm happy for Paul George sort of putting it all together and coming into the season. He got out of the bubble. He talked a little bit about what he was dealing with there. But the problem is the culture of the Clippers. I think they gave away too much. I think they gave too much of their talent away, and there's something just not right about them. I'm not sure if it's Kawhi. I'm not sure if it's George. I'm not sure what it is, but there's just too much going on with the Clippers. They're just a team to watch to see if they gel later on in the season. They had a long way to go. Listen, I like Luka Doncic. I like the Lakers. They look a little bit better, a little bit younger. Brooklyn is the team to watch, and I'm a Knicks fan. Brooklyn is going to be interesting as long as they stay healthy. I know they just lost Dinwiddie for a while, but they are an interesting team. And don't leave this whole James Harden thing yet. He's still unsettled in Houston. Houston will make a decision down the line. Right now it's play, but I could see him get traded within the start of the new year.
Like It or Not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law Firm. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. Thanks for joining us. Happy New Year, everybody. It's time for Unfinished Business. Pat, start us off.
So in the beginning of this football season, the question for Bills fans was, what constitutes a step forward for this team? And at the beginning of the season, it was win the division and you're good. And then we saw what this team actually was. And then it became, well, win a playoff game and everything's going to be okay. And as the season went on and this team started to get healthy and really gel, well, now there's legitimate Super Bowl aspirations. And I'm here for it, man. Like, I'm excited. It's doable. Don't get me wrong. But I think we need to keep in mind, no matter what happens over the next couple of weeks, as this regular season comes to an end, they've taken that step. Look, I don't want to see them go in and lose a playoff game. It would break my heart with the talent they have here. But if for some terrible reason that does happen, they won the division for the first time in a quarter century. They show that they are a legitimate NFL team in the regular season, one of the craziest regular seasons we've ever seen in NFL history. The step forward has been taken. When this season is over, you have 2 years. 2-year window to make things work, the way that the contracts are before you have to pay Josh Allen. You've got this year, next year, and the year after to make a legitimate championship run. If for some reason, and I say this now before the regular season is over so you don't freak out, it doesn't happen this year or we're disappointed, take a breath. There's 24 more months after this. Everything is going to be okay.
For Daniel Jones and the New York Football Giants, I understand he was drafted in the first round, 6th pick overall, but that's not really his point, or that's not really his fault. It's the New York Giants that selected him. He's put now in a position to lead a franchise and has not done a great job with it. Yes, I understand Saquon Barkley is out with an injury and done for the year, but my biggest issue has to do with Daniel Jones. One of his biggest weapons was his legs. And the fact that he's a quarterback, you would need to improve with throwing the football. He hasn't been able to do that. I'm not convinced Daniel Jones is the quarterback for the New York Football Giants going forward. I know he's a great guy. I know he's a great leader. He's probably a smart kid as well. But he doesn't have the dynamic factor that if you go into a game that Daniel Jones is going to win that game for the New York Football Giants. Listen, if he goes out there and they win their last game of the year, it's a great moment for Daniel Jones going forward in the next few years. But the dynamics of the quarterbacks we've seen the last few weeks, from whether it's Kyler Murray or whether it's Lamar Jackson or whether it's from any other quarterback you've seen, he is not that. What he is a game manager. And in 2021, the NFL, you don't need a game manager anymore. You need a quarterback that the other team's defense is worried about. Daniel Jones is not that.
Let's keep talking football. It was Sunday, February the 3rd, 2002. Adam Vinatieri lining up for a 48-yard field goal that won Super Bowl 36 over the heavily favored St. Louis Rams as time expired. It was New England's first championship of the Tom Brady era. I was watching it with my family, and I told the kids, this is a moment that you'll remember forever. Well, it didn't quite work out that way. All three of them became rabid Buffalo Bills fans instead, ignoring their birthright and choosing instead to side with the sorriest franchise in the NFL. The Bills are 3-13 that year. Front-running has a long history. There are fans everywhere who root for the Cowboys, the Steelers, and the 49ers because they were the great teams when they were growing up. These kids have the birthright to root for the Patriots, and they even hated them just to spite me, pointing out that Tom Brady was a Trump supporter. That one really hurt. Anyway, the shoe is on the other foot now, as it always is if you wait long enough. I feel great for all the people who somehow stuck with this team, the Buffalo Bills, and are finally, virtually perhaps, reaping the benefits. The moment you'll remember forever. It is coming, as Pat said. It's your turn now. That's Unfinished Business, and that is our first show of the new year. Guys, thank you very much. Tariq?
Happy New Year to you guys. Hopefully we'll have a better 2021 than in 20.
Pat?
Real quick, that Super Bowl you talked about, I rooted for the Patriots because they were such underdogs, and I wanted to see an NFC East team win the Super Bowl, and I will never, ever forgive myself. Ever.
18 years ago. Wow. Hey, thanks everyone for joining us on the Rochester Press Box, and we'll see you again next week.